Hi there, and welcome back to Delphox Cards and Collectibles. And you're probably not here for Marvel movie reviews, but I'm doing them anyways. My wife and I have finished up our second Marvel movie, that movie being Captain America, the First Avenger. Here I've got my Captain America behind me. Big Captain America fans here in our house. My wife's dad is probably the biggest, I would say, self-proclaimed Captain America mega fan. Even calls himself Pastor America at times. And there's a reason for that. He fell in love with these movies. I love these movies. I remember watching this movie after watching Iron Man on the same weekend. And I was thinking, I cannot believe these movies connect. This is amazing. So this may not be the next one in any order, but just the order we're watching it in. And so again, if you didn't watch my first video, I ranked this in 10 different categories and it gave me a congregate score, and I will share that with you, hopefully try to be brief with it. All right, let's hop into it. Number one, the story for Captain America, the First Avenger. I love this story. I scored it a 9 out of 10. I just love the World War II vibe. I think the story of rags to riches as far as his strength goes is really fun. I think it earns every single beat down the way. I mean, you get mean Nazi psychopath in Schmidt with the Red Skull. You get awesome hero. You get the great best friend, the girl. Everything is fantastic in this movie story-wise, and I love what they do and how Cap loses before he eventually becomes an Avenger. He loses quite a bit. What happened to characters? I did ding this one because though I really like Peggy and I really like Cap, and I even like Stark, Tony's dad in this movie. The rest of the characters, I couldn't remember their names. Obviously Bucky, and Bucky's not quite what he becomes in the future, but there's no other characters. Like the group of guys that help him, they're fun, but they're not memorable. I remember looking at it with my wife going, I don't remember any of these guys were in this movie. And so for that, like, it gets an 8. Obviously Captain America is like one of the most famous characters in Marvel, and Peggy and everything, but kind of forgettable at times. So the visuals, I put a 7. Movie from 2011. Weirdly enough, there are parts where it just like doesn't quite hold up and you're kind of wishing for more. So I would say the visuals were very good. There were some very fun moments, and then there's some CGI parts where you're like, yep, that's a product of its time, you know, and it's weird to say about a 2011 movie, but it is. I have direction at a 9. I think the pacing's fantastic. I couldn't stop watching, and I had seen it already, but I didn't remember. I'd seen it 2-3 times already. I didn't remember some of the parts, and I think the acting is very good. I think the evil is believable. The love is believable. I think Cap's courage is believable, and so I did like all of that, and so I give it a 9. Dialogue and humor, I give it an 8. There are some funny moments in this movie, and it's not funny like haha Deadpool and Wolverine. It's funny like I'm sitting with my parents or like my parents' friends, and we're cracking up at some of these kind of older jokes, these like a little bit more tame jokes, and I think there's a place for that. Like, this is a very good movie for kids to watch, and I think MCU is losing that with all their messages and everything. When you're watching this, you're like, wow, there's some really good dialogue here, first of all, between some of the characters. I mean, Schmidt's evil is so evil. I mean, some of his lines are crazy with how much you feel his hatred towards everybody but himself, right? Next, we have the emotional impact, and I gave that a 7. I think there are moments that really hit. There's some moments where, you know, Cap's saying goodbye and the plane's going down, and he's talking with Peggy, and he's talking about saving the dance. That's tough. That's a hard thing. Or when he wakes up and you're like, can you imagine waking up 70 years into the future? That'd be crazy. You're losing Bucky. All those things. Him missing out in the army again. I mean, all those little things kind of get to you. They're nothing that are going to make you cry, nothing that are going to make you like weep or feel bad for days, but they're emotional enough to, you're like, I feel why Cap is the way he is. We also have the soundtrack and score. I put it a 7. A fantastic soundtrack. I'll give it 10, that I'll remember the songs. This is just that it's nice. It's a nice soundtrack. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing crazy. It's a good 7. The legacy it leaves, I put an 8, but that's for me, right? The score is for me. And so the legacy this movie leaves, I go, this teaches you about Captain America, who is vital to the rest of these movies. it teaches you about him and why he is the way he is. And in almost kind of like a Rocky type movie, it leaves this like, he's bigger than life, right? Captain is bigger than normal, and his ideals are bigger than normal. So I give that an 8. The villain, I have a 9. Obviously, he's not perfect. Obviously, he's no Thanos. He's not the perfect villain. But man, is he good. And he is sinister. And I really, really, really like him. So I'm gonna give the Red Skull a 9. Very famous Marvel villain. Hard not to just like want to root for him. His death, and then obviously we know where he is, way down the line, but it's just really, really good there. And then the overall enjoyment with the movie, I gave this a 9. My wife and I we looked at each other after. We love this movie. We love Captain America. It's more to us than just a movie because our family loves Captain America. Our dads both love Captain America. And so I would have to put Captain America as a character in my top 3 Marvel characters. Spider-Man, Cap, maybe Thor, Cyclops. I mean, he's in that running of top 4, top 5 favorite Marvel characters. So overall enjoyment, I give a 9. This movie's fun. This is one of my, top 10 maybe Marvel movies. We'll see how the scores rank out. But I ranked this all out. It got an 8.1 out of 10, an 81 out of 100, whichever way you want to score it. Very, very good score. I don't see a ton of movies being in that category of 8 or higher. And so very, very much love this movie. If you haven't seen Captain America, the First Avenger, I would highly recommend. Even if you're not a superhero fan, this isn't really a superhero movie. This is a movie about a soldier. This is a movie about a guy who loves a girl. This is a movie about a guy who loves his country. And so I wouldn't even call this if you're trying to get someone into Marvel, Iron Man and Captain America, those first couple movies are phenomenal at getting people in because they're not that superhero-y. He's not fighting somebody with massive superpowers. Yes, he's a little bit stronger, Red Skull is, but he's not flying. He's not shooting lightning out of his hands. He's not from space. He's a German. He's a Nazi who wants to take over the world. He wants nothing less but the world, they say in the movie. So hop into that one. Give it a go. But thank you so much for watching. And as always, may God bless you and have a good one.